Hey guys, and welcome to Service Alliance Podcast. I am your host with the most equipment, Zach Kreider, and we have an awesome guest for you today. I've been watching him for a couple of years. He's a pretty neat guy. Seeing the transition he took, and the success he's had and the people he's helped. We're really excited to have on our friend Jay Mills. How you doing? What's up, man?
I'm doing good, man. I'm doing good. How about you, brother?
Dude, I couldn't be any better if I tried. It is a great day, and I am glad to be here alongside of you. We had some interesting conversation in the pre-roll, like learning where you came from and stuff like that. I thought that was so cool. So we'll dive in. One of the first questions we love to ask our guests is, who are you? Why should we care about what you have to say to the audience? So I'm gonna sling you over into the head seat, and I'm gonna put you up. So let us know who you are, man.
All right. There we go. Well, my name is Jacob Mills, and most people refer to me as J Mills. And I am a father, a husband, an entrepreneur, and I love God. And I own Dryer Vent Tech. I founded it in 2017, and just recently, with my lead technician at Dryer Vent Tech, we partnered on Dryer Vent Profits, where we're helping people get started in the dryer vent cleaning industry and predictably start and successfully rapidly scale their dryer vent cleaning businesses.
That's awesome. That is really cool. I've been watching that transition as you go into the coaching space of that. So that's been pretty neat. So how did you get your start? We were talking about that a little bit before. You didn't always do this.
Nope, I didn't. So I actually, the last job I had, just kind of rewind back to then, I had been working as a vegetarian meat vendor, a distributor, where I sold fake hot dogs, fake hamburgers, fake chicken wings, all that stuff, right? By the way, that stuff ain't good for you. But it's loaded with sodium and a bunch of other chemicals. But I was selling that stuff for about 6 years, and I had enough of it, right? And both my parents are business owners themselves, and so that they had an influence on me at an early age, and I had decided earlier on that I was going to own my own business. So I was dabbling into network marketing for a while. Didn't really have much success with that, and I started to get into internet marketing, and I ended up joining a program that helped you do local SEO and learn how to optimize websites and rank them at the top of search engines for certain keywords and stuff. And so I got involved with that back in 2014. But I ended up quitting my job at the end of 2016. No, at the beginning of 2016. It was actually like January or February. And it was scary, but I was determined to build a business and become successful, building my own dream versus somebody else's. And it didn't go too well, and I was doing a lot of side work. I was working even harder than I was in my business. At my job, and I was actually, doing a bunch of side work, like, cutting grass, hedge trimming, cleaning houses, and, all these all these people, it seemed like God was just sending certain people that was helping me sustain, because I did not want to end up back at my job. Side note, some of my coworkers, they didn't mean anything from it, but they were kind of like, "You're quitting? What are you talking about? You're not going to build a business. What do you mean? You're always doing these network marketing things. What are you doing? You'll be back here at 6 months or so." So I did not want to end up coming back to my job. And that wasn't the main reason, but it certainly didn't help. But long story short, I had a bunch of issues, like health issues and different things going on with an autoimmune disease. And I got some clients, and I was doing okay, barely paying bills, just marketing for other businesses, trying to smile and dial people, and that wasn't really working out too well. And one of my clients that was paying me $1,000 a month, their contract was ending in August of 2017. And the closer I got to that contract ending, the more I started to get a little anxious. And I realized, man, if I'm truly going to, continue to work for myself, the best thing to do is do something different, because what I've been doing hasn't been working as well as I wanted it to. So that's when I started searching online and looking for businesses that I could start. And I came across this article. It was on entrepreneur.com. It was like 101 businesses you could start for less than $100. So I said, I'm gonna read that article. If I can find a business, it should be in that article. So I read through it. A bunch of other stuff. Some of it I've heard of before. Parking lot striping, different things I hadn't heard of. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. So I came across dryer duct cleaning, and I had never heard of it. But it said that it was an increasing demand in most markets, and pretty low competition still in most markets, and very lucrative. And it's a fire hazard if customers don't get it done. So that really piqued my interest. I went ahead and did some research, and the more research I did, the more videos I watched, the more articles I read, the more I got excited. And so I decided, after calling some competitors and seeing what they were charging in my market and so on and so forth, I decided to go ahead and get started in it. So the next day I cleared my schedule, built my website, chose a name, and started the SEO process. So that's how I got started.
That's really cool. I love hearing, and we'll have to come back to this, but I love hearing that both of your parents are entrepreneurs and have been entrepreneurs, and that was kind of a spark that pushed you through. And the other thing that I hear as you're talking is kind of a grit, right? Like, I was just on a phone call right before we got on with another friend who's been an entrepreneur for a long time. And he was talking like, the cliche of, oh, you have to love what you do, or, you'll never work a day in your life. And he goes, that's all crap. You think I like cleaning up other people's crap? No, but I like money and I like helping people. So I do it. Right. And so like, there's this dichotomy though, like you have to at least moderately enjoy something that you're doing, or you have to find something that you identify with in some way, shape, or form that you want to see succeed. And that kind of helps, push you through. And that kind of sounds like that's what you found in like the dryer vent cleaning, right? Like that was, it was certainly more interesting than the other job you did, right? You kind of bounced around. You said your friends, had said that you'd be back right at the job, and no, like, go ahead, be haters, go ahead, be detractors, watch what it does for me, right? Like that's where I picked up on that kind of grit.
Right. There was a little bit of that, and more so the reason why initially that I wanted to be an entrepreneur was one of the strongest things. I wanted to be able to support a family. First of all, I was single as could be back then, and wasn't even dating at the time, but I wanted to eventually have a family that that I could support, and not just support, but also have time to spend with them. And, I wanted to, have flexibility, and I wanted to, not only just have a business, but I wanted to be able to, own the business instead of the business owning me. You know what I mean? I wanted to be in a position that, it can work more autonomously without me. And so that's kind of what I what I wanted. I didn't want to, because I've seen my parents kind of get stuck in this hamster wheel. They do over the years they've gotten better and different things, as far as they've been able to, travel and go to different countries and take months off here and there. So that's been great. But you know I saw like so much more that could be done in a business if you think about it right, and you play by the numbers, and you're in it for the growth, and you follow a systematic process. So there was a lot of that in the decision that I made to get started, and then I saw how dryer vent cleaning could be that vehicle. Now, to speak on what you had said earlier, like, there's something I really do enjoy about cleaning dryer vents, but it's not my favorite thing to do. You know what I mean? It's like, I don't just get my sense of fulfillment and enjoyment and passion out of cleaning dryer vents. You know what I mean? But every time I clean a dryer vent, and every time I have cleaned a dryer vent, I have that end in mind where I'm building something. You know what I mean? I'm headed somewhere. Sooner or later, I'm going to hire people. I'm going to, focus more on the marketing aspect and the growth aspect. And it's not just what I'm doing right here. Now, I'm willing to do whatever it takes. So I think what's most important is the reason why you're doing whatever you're doing, and what you're doing isn't as important. Now, if you're doing something that's not headed somewhere and not going to, help you transform it, transform your life in some type of way, then that's where you need to look at doing something else.
Yeah, that's so good, man. The why is so important. So many people miss the why in everything that they do. They focus on the how, they focus on the when, they focus on the where,
right?
But they miss the most important part, the why.
Exactly.
Like if your why, in the health coaching side of what I do, right? I love coaching health because my why was strong, right? Mm-hmm. But we talk to clients all the time. Oh, why? I want to look better. I want to whatever, Okay.
Yeah.
But is that going to sustain you in 2 weeks when that cheeseburger is calling your name, right? Like, right. Come on now. But the same thing, I mean, and even maybe more so in business, right? There has to be, I talked at length with Dean Landers about this at ASTI. Like, there has to be a why. If your only why is money, or your only why is, well, like, I want to be happy in what I do, that's frou crap.
Yeah, it ain't gonna get you far.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, so I mean, I don't know. Can you speak to kind of like where because you hit on it, you did some network marketing and stuff like that. Like, what drove that, right? Like, what was your why in that?
That's an interesting question. My why has transformed quite a bit. When I first got into network marketing, I think I was around like 19 years old. And one of my friends, one of my mentors, really, who eventually, trained me in the job that I worked for 6 years selling veggie meat. He's the first one that introduced me to a network marketing, business opportunity. And what really sold me back then was just having more money. You know what I mean? Like residual income was the word that everybody was throwing around, where you do something once, you get paid for it over and over and over again, right? I mean, I'm sure anybody watching this that has learned, had any type of network marketing opportunity that they've taken advantage of, they probably understand that, you know, the residual income, passive income. And so wanted to call my own shots. You know what I mean? I wanted to, you know, be my own boss and all those cliches, right? So it was much weaker why, even though that why could help motivate some people. It wasn't much of a motivator, because of when I stacked that why up against, you know, what it took to really be successful in that industry. I wasn't willing to do exactly what it took. And so I started bouncing from one company to the next. I got into so many network marketing opportunities. I was that guy. I was that guy that ended up in the NFL club, the No Friends Left club.
I was gonna say you're the guy that just like everyone dodged the phone call.
Yeah, like, oh, he's calling. You already know why he's calling.
Yeah, it's, I mean, I think, and I think that's important. You have to have clarity on why you're doing what you're doing. You know, that was a question that Dean shared a story. For me, we were talking about like just whys and stuff like that. And he said, you know, he had a couple guys that he had been mentoring for a long time, and like two of these guys just could not get past money. Like they were just like so dead focused on, no, it's money. It's money. It's like, you're just, it's not going to serve you or anyone else. Right. Like,
not at all, man. And I feel like your why, like not achieving your why, once you're real clear on your why has to be so strong that not achieving it is so painful that you're willing to do whatever it takes to achieve it, to avoid that pain. Because human beings were wired psychologically to do more to avoid pain than we are to gain pleasure. And so if we can figure that out, and our why is that strong that not attaining it is going to be so painful for us and we'll never be able to live with ourselves, then nothing's gonna hold us back.
I hope you guys are writing notes, because that was just absolute fire right there. And that's the stuff that I say to you all the time.
Yeah.
I might be a little bit more of a jerk about it. Hopefully you were writing notes during that, because that's the stuff that I say to you all the time.
Yeah.
He said it a lot nicer. I'm a jerk when I say it, but that's the stuff that I say to you guys in the audience all the time. Your why has to sustain you. That the pain of not achieving what you want to achieve has to be so great, right? Like, not achieving that why has to be so great, because that's what's going to sustain you when you come up against the resistance, because there's always going to be resistance. There's always going to be pushback in your environment, right? Like, outside forces are strong all the time, and you have to be able to resist the crashing of those waves. So you said your why evolved. What does it evolve to? Like, if you don't mind sharing, if it's too personal, back off. But I'm just always curious.
Sure. No, my why is just more of my family now. There's a lot built into my why. My family is a huge part of it, because family, like cohesiveness in a family unit, is so important. And without time, it's really hard to maintain that bond if you're not spending time together. And this is something that I struggle with still. I mean, even when I'm with my family, a lot of times it's hard for me to be present, because I'm in my mind about something, it's something to do with the business, you know what I mean? And so my goal is to get to the point where I can be completely present, and wherever I'm at, I'm there. I'm not up here somewhere else, you know what I mean? And so time is, I believe that time is infinitely more valuable than money. Money comes and goes, you know what I mean? You can get money, you can lose it, you can get it right back. Time, you can never get your time back. So how we spend our time is very important. One of my favorite Bible verses is, whatsoever thy hand findeth to do with all thy might. With thy might, because there is no work, nor device, nor knowledge, nor wisdom in the grave whither thou goest. So that, I mean, that's serious. Like that's just saying we do not have a whole lot of time. You know what I mean? Time, it, doesn't wait for nobody. And so you have to do what you got to do now. Like whatever you do it the best you can. And so that's built into my why is, man, I have to use the time that God has given me to the best of my ability now. Like I have to, spend this time with my family now. I got to make sure that we're headed in the right direction, and when we're all growing together as a family unit instead of growing apart. And so, another thing is I want us to be completely out of debt. Like that's a huge why too. That's a big goal of mine as well, is to get my family completely out of debt. I'd like us to get our own place. We're renting at the moment, and I would like us to have our own piece of land, somewhere in the country. I was born and raised in the country, so I love the country. When I was a kid, I used to, kind of grass is greener on the other side type of thing. My parents are from New York, so I used to always be like, why did y'all move all the way down into the country? You know what I mean? Like, well, what did y'all do? Just open up an atlas map, close your eyes and bam, Bethpage, Tennessee, I guess, right? But that's one of my goals is to get my family in the country, get a garden, you know what I mean? Because I believe this world ain't heading in the right direction. You know what I mean? Things are getting pretty crazy. So there's a lot that's built into my why. So those are just a couple things.
Dude, I love that.
Yeah.
Like, I just love how cohesive everything is. I feel like we're cut from the same cloth, man. Like that's there's a reason why we vibe together and why we've been able to have conversations like we have. Like I love it. I believe that we end up getting attracted to those that we're a lot alike. Like those similarities begin to just draw people in. That's so good, man.
That's so true.
Hopefully people were writing stuff during that conversation, because that was awesome. Like there was just so much packed into what you just said,
Awesome.
You talk about so many people talk about habit stacking, right? You just Y stacked the crap out of your life. Like, you Y stacked, you goal stacked, like you just like all these pieces, and like you can see how well that gels together. Like you can see how one piece drives the next piece, drives the next. I mean, it's literally like, if you want to think about it, and this is going to throw my camera out of focus, but like gears, right? Like gears meshing together. Like that's literally how I hear your goals and your why, and like the stuff in your life, the work that you do day in and day out is so interconnected.
Yeah.
It's the mechanism that drives and pushes you through those bad days.
Yeah, that is awesome, man. This conversation is actually really cool, because like I'm actually becoming a little bit more clear as well, because this isn't something, they say at first thing in the morning, get up, use the restroom and then sit down and write your goals out. I don't do any of that. You know what I mean? I probably should, because this conversation is just kind of just bringing things afresh again, and it's almost igniting that fire within me again. Whereas like sometimes you get so just sidetracked and just caught up into the got to do this, got to do that, you know what I mean? All the business things and putting fires out and all this stuff, and you're starting to get overwhelmed because you're focused on the wrong thing. So sometimes that happens to me, quite a bit lately, actually. So this is a good conversation.
Well, and you said it earlier in the conversation. That's one of the things that you noticed in your parents, and I see you like, it's we're never perfect, right? We're always gonna have those struggles, and we're always chasing better, right? Like we're never okay. Those who are successul are never done. You're always pushing for that next percent. That like you've what is it? Ed Milet that do one more, right?
Right.
So those of us that are driven, like we're always pushing for that one more. We're pushing for that next like percent. We're never satisfied, right?
Yeah.
You just have to drive through that. And I see you chasing that better. You shared that your parents didn't own a business. They were owned by the business. They got so absorbed into like the day-to-day, the mundaneness of it, right?
Yeah.
And you didn't want that.
Yeah.
Gosh, I love that. And you're fighting and you're creating these habits and these things in your life. The buck that pattern, right? I love that. And then I'm assuming, I don't know, maybe it's not fair to assume, but in the training that you're doing for helping people scale, I assume that that's kind of a piece of what you're teaching.
Yes, it is. I mean, down to the actual marketing strategy that's built in there. And you know, this conversation is helping me. Like, all right, I need to. This is giving me some content. You know what I mean? Because like every now and then, this conversation comes up on our live Q&A. We have a live Q&A every Monday night where we all just kind of get to know each other and ask questions and kind of, you know, learn from each other. But you know, the actual strategy is basic. It's really simple. It's and this is the marketing strategy that we teach. So, you know, instead of buying leads from like Home Advisor and Thumbtack and Angie's List and whatever else, you know, lead distributor there is out there coming up, or instead of running ads, which I have no problem with either one of those, as long as it's, you know, at the right stage of your business, by the way. So, but especially starting out, which is what we specialize in, helping people start out in the industry, we teach them to use organic methods that initially they may take a little bit more time, though they may not. One of the things that I show everyone to do is to how to outsource a lot of the steps when it comes to SEO. And so, you know, a lot of times you can pay an expert to do it for you, but really, in all actuality, a lot of these experts, they're outsourcing that stuff too. And so basically, I'm showing them how to cut that out, save more money, and which helps them become more profitable and help them, you know, set up their own website, their own GMB, and rank those you know, virtual real estate properties online, where, you know, directly in front of people that are searching for their services. And I kid you not, after I did that for my own business back in 2017, it wasn't like eight months passed before I did anything else to it, you know. And that is huge because I have this property. It's like it's a retail store on a busy intersection that I don't even have to pay rent for, you know what I mean? And I already paid for it once, and I got it ranked, and it continues to generate sales and customers for my business. I actually set up another GMB and a website in another market, and it's doing the same thing. And I can do that in another market. I'm about to do 2 or 3 more soon. And so that strategy in and of itself, once that's set up, I'm not having to pay every single time I get a customer for, you know, I don't have to pay every single time I get a lead. I don't have to pay Google each and every month. I don't have to pay Facebook, you know, and yet I'm still able to build a business and not drive myself crazy trying to do both at the same time. Like, it's there. It wasn't 8 months after I built that and ranked that and started to get, you know, build my business until I think I just put an article on there at the time. And every now and then there is some maintenance that you have to do to maintain those top positions, because competitors may be doing the same thing and leapfrogging you. But that's one of the main strategies, and it is built in there for that same reason, to make sure that, especially in the starting stages of your business, you're not driving yourself crazy, squeezing your profits from both ends, and you're still able to have the time to build your business. You know what I mean? So yeah.
That's awesome. I do want to push back on the SEO thing, because I am a big proponent of paying someone else to do it down the road, depending on the space you're in. Because now, in fairness, the dryer vent subset could be different than what I know in appliance repair, could be different than what I know in the HVAC space of things. But I think it is really cool. Like, I think it is really important to do the SEO, to get the Google My Business. I don't like paying for leads if I don't have to. If you have to bump the Google, right, as in the early phases. But I think to a certain extent, depending on the type of business that you're in, it is important to have the SEO. We have an entire episode on the SEO with my friend Mike Carson, and I've done the research myself. And it could also depend on the market too. So I always like to bring that up.
Sure, absolutely. And I will say this, the dryer and cleaning industry is a whole lot less competitive than the appliance repair industry. So when you go after a market, you're going to rank a whole lot quicker and a lot easier. It's almost like, kindergarten for SEO. If you go after an industry like dryer and cleaning versus appliance repair. So there is that. That's a very important thing to bring up. But what I teach is you can either do it yourself, which takes a whole lot of time, and you're going to have to go through that learning curve, and replay the video. You might make some mistakes, and you may have a bunch of questions. But that's great for people that have a whole lot of time but not a whole lot of money. But then I also teach how to outsource each piece. If you understand the whole entire strategy, then you can simply say, okay, I need this done. I'm going to go here to get that done. I need that done. I'm going to go here to get that done. So, and then you kind of just cut out the middleman, who a lot of times is outsourcing it as well, and just taking a cut off the top. So, yeah.
Sure. Yeah. I will say there are a lot of dishonest marketing and SEO companies out there. However, if you find a good agency, stick with them.
And
let them do the work.
Exactly. If you have the money too, like if that's the big thing. If you have the money and you simply don't even want to go through that learning curve, then by all means, yeah.
Well, and I think that's an important part. If you have the money, right, to be able to do it, because time and money, right, like they're directly interchangeable. You said that early on.
It's that balance. You got to find that balance. What is it?
Right. You got to figure out what is more important at the time. Right. Like, I would personally rather pay someone $1,000, $2,000 a month to deal with the SEO for my space versus the sheer amount of time that it would take me to do the same amount of work that they're doing. Right. Like that's the trade-off. And I think that's an important business to learn when you are slow, when you are just starting out. Sure.
Right.
Do the stuff on your own and just like try not to make some of the cardinal mistakes. And that's what you're saying. Like, there are some important things that you kind of get the baseline for. So I think that's really cool.
Absolutely. And especially in an industry like dryer cleaning, or like if you were going after the underwater basket weaving industry, you're not going to have much competition. A couple content, some links, and you're good. You're going to rank in no time. So that's kind of like the dryer cleaning, not exactly, but it's a lot easier to go after that industry and get some success.
What have you found in working with business owners? Like, because again, like what we do with the Service Alliance. Like, our heart is for the business owners. We do, we'll help technicians, but our heart is really for the business owners. So what has been the lessons that you've learned in?
All right, I didn't realize this was not muted.
I love iPhone because as soon as it reads my calendar, so it knew that we were doing this meeting, and it goes auto do not disturb. It won't let anyone through. iPhone is dope.
That is next level, dude.
Yeah. And when I get it, like if I go to the office, it knows I'm at work, and so it only lets certain people through. It gatekeeps for me. So if you have an iPhone, little plug for iPhone and their level of just like insanity, Focus is the greatest tool ever. You need help, I'll teach you how to set it up.
Man, that is huge. Yeah. Focus is the greatest tool ever. That's a quotable right there, boy.
I mean, listen, like, we talk about trading time, right? I don't have time to deal with BS when I'm in the middle of something, right? I don't have time for my phone to be going off while we're having a conversation like this. I don't have time to talk to people who aren't on that approved list of people when I'm in a work mode, or I'm in a recording mode, or I'm in a, whatever mode I'm in. You know, I'm trading, right? Because it's just that much more time. This is a total sidetrack, but it's just that much more time to get back into focus, to get back into structure, to get back into the groove of things when you get interrupted by stuff that's not important.
Yep. You break that flow.
Yeah. It takes twice as long to get back into it, right? So people argue with me all the time, but I am a big proponent of time blocking. I love time blocking. Maybe because I get so sidetracked and I get so ADD, I need the structure. But I like to time block everything. And so, like, if I have a 2-hour time block to do a specific amount of time and work, if something pops into that's gonna break that and it's gonna take me twice as long, then I don't have 2 hours anymore. All of a sudden I have 40 minutes to do the work that I was hoping to have 2 hours to do. So that's a little aside, but no. So what's one of the things that you've learned in working with these new business owners as you're training them up? Like, what's been one of the biggest takeaways, maybe for your own business, even, like?
Good question. Well, to start off with, I'm sure there's plenty of others that will come into my mind, but to start off with is don't assume. You know what I mean? Don't assume that the knowledge that I have is just going to be that's not valuable. Also, don't assume that the training videos that I have are just going to be just clear as day and easy to follow, and everyone's going to implement. don't assume that. And and another thing I've learned is everyone has their own pace. Everyone has their own pace. So we've had to make certain tweaks and just kind of tweak the program in a way that will help everyone at their own pace. And so that's definitely something that I've learned, and I'm sure quite a few other things. I've also learned how fulfilling it is to see people grow as well. I mean, it's just an awesome thing, because I'm a firm believer that people do change, and everyone changes, actually, and it's just a matter of fact. It's just about how you're changing. Are you changing for the worse or the better? Are you growing or are you shrinking? But it's really cool to see our clients growing and their aha moments and how they implement, and just getting results as well. It's just I always say it's awesome to be able to build my own business. It's been an exhilarating journey, and it's just full of just excitement and fulfillment. But there's something just so much more fulfilling to pass that information on to someone else and watch them do the same thing. It's just something about it. It's just amazing.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's awesome to hear. I thoroughly believe in giving back as much as you can, right? That doesn't mean that, like, you give it away for free, but there is a certain level of, like, I'm serving you. And weirdly enough, you end up getting served just so much in serving other people. It's wild how that works. Like, it's just so wild.
Absolutely.
When you shift that focus from I to us, it's pretty cool to see what happens. So I'm glad that that's kind of like, I kind of knew that's where you were going to go with that. Just in like watching you on the social channels and the conversations that we have, I kind of knew that's where that was going. But really cool to hear you share that. So
that's awesome.
What would you wish you learned sooner? in the process? Like, I'm sure you've learned some lessons along the way. Like, what's your big, well, that was stupid, I wish I would have learned that sooner?
Oh, yeah, that's a good question, man. Um, oh man. This is something that I was just thinking about not too long ago. I wish I would have hired an accountant a lot sooner. You know that because that is definitely my weak spot is keeping up with the paperwork and taxes and all of that and making sure that everything is squared away. And I've filed extension after extension in the past couple of years. So as far as that goes, that's something that I definitely wish I would have. I mean, you can't try to do everything yourself. It just doesn't work that way. So that's one thing that was definitely on my mind over the past couple of hours, actually. Um, what else? Oh, I wish I would have learned how to do rerouting and installation a lot sooner, because that was something that I kind of shied away from in the beginning. Um, I learned how to do dryer vent cleaning, and I had so many opportunities during that first couple of months to replace dryer vents and reroute dryer vents. But I was a little hesitant in taking that leap of faith into it because, and for good reason. I mean, one thing I wish I would have done is just do a little bit more to learn. Try give more effort in learning how to do it, and then I would feel more comfortable and I could do it right. So I passed up opportunity after opportunity and left a lot of money on the table because I was uncomfortable with it. And so once I got started in it and ended up getting comfortable with it, I'm like, man, I should have done this so much sooner, because it's a real profitable part of the business. There's a lot of non-code compliant dryer vents out there that need to be upgraded to code compliant galvanized steel or whatever the case may be. And I mean, it's to the point where, one deal that we've landed recently was a one deal for an apartment complex. And I think it was like a total of 70 something units, maybe I think 72 units that we had to reroute dryer vents on each of the units. And it's over six figures, just that one deal. Another thing that I wish we would have learned is how to do drywall earlier. And now we do drywall because every now and then there's a disconnected dryer vent in between a wall or in between a subfloor, the ceiling or something, and you have to replace a run that's hidden behind drywall, and you have to cut out that drywall and do the work. And then what do you do then? Do they have to call another contractor to do the drywall? They're not going to want to do that. That's another barrier to hiring you if that's the case. So we finally learned how to do it really well. Really well. And we've gotten to the point where we can do everything. We can close it back up, sand it, get it smooth, paint, all of that. And that alone, that's one of the biggest reasons why we were able to land that deal. We've landed another deal like that for an apartment complex that we had to do it all because they wanted a contractor that could do all of it and do all of it right. So, yeah.
I kind of want to challenge that. I wonder if you could sub that out.
I'm sure we could
focus on what you do where they're like directly connected to you in some way as a subcontractor. I don't mean you have to think about it now, but it's one of those things that it's running through my head. Like, dude, you're really good at dryer vent cleaning. You're really good at like like selling these. Like, why are you wasting time doing drywall? I understand that, like the logic behind it. I wonder if there's a partner out there in that. So
yeah, that is another. That is another solid option. But I prefer to do it all, like just from start to finish. We get it done. We make more money because of it per job, but then we save the customer a little bit as well, because I guarantee you, if we subbed it out, we're gonna have to charge a little bit more for it, for everyone to make their money. So I like that a little bit better. And there are a lot of people in the group. Well, there's not a whole lot of people in the group, so that's probably not the right way to say it, but there's a couple of clients in our group that would rather not get into drywall, which I understand because there is that learning curve, and there's a lot of time involved in learning it in the first place. But I prefer. I wish I would have learned it even sooner.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's the way my brain works. My brain's always like, is there another way to do this? Like, what's the least resistance path to take in this, So that's cool. I love that, you're learning about an accountant. A good accountant doesn't cost you money. They're an investment. They actually make you money. And that was one of the first things that I was taught when I got into this, like hire someone to do the accounting, because you don't want to screw. First of all, you don't want to screw with the tax man. And second of all, you don't want to screw with money in general.
Exactly.
If you don't, and a bad accountant will actually cost you money. So make sure you have a good accountant.
There you go.
It's important. So I love that. I love the lessons that you're learning, and I'm sure you're going to make some pivots in the very near future.
Absolutely. It's all a work in progress.
Yeah, always. No, that's really cool. This has been such a fun conversation. I'm glad that we finally got to have it. I'm sure we'll talk more as we grow and evolve through our different businesses.
For sure.
Stuff like that. And depending on timing, how I'm just throwing out there, I'll come and challenge your Monday night group.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
That's what I love about you, man. You're so passionate about helping others level themselves up and what they do. And that's
awesome.
That's my vibe. That's the way that I roll.
I can tell that about you too. That's one thing I really appreciate about you and the rest of the guys. I don't know why their names.
There's a lot of them. It's TJ. Yeah.
TJ. I thought it was TJ, but it is a TJ.
You got TK.
TK Cousins. Yeah.
Yep. TK Cousins, EJ, Justin Gandy, and Mike Carson. So
yeah. You guys are awesome, man. I've watched some of the replays for the devotionals, and I really like what you guys are doing.
Well, that'll throw you off with names too, because we're always bringing someone else on. Like we have Doug Shear comes on every once in a while. And we have our Tuesday. We tend to have more guests on than anything, because we call it Testimony Tuesday, but sometimes it just ends up being Prattling Tuesday. So
that's great.
Today being a Tuesday, it was a Prattling Tuesday. We had Alex Hand on at the time of recording, and it was a lot of fun. He's a fun guy. But
that's awesome.
Yeah, we love doing it. We love giving back, man. That's one of the things. Like, I don't know, why hide your secrets? There's a certain amount that you want people to pay for. I mean, like you teach a class, I'm sure.
That's right.
People are paying for that, right? Like you have to have. My opinion has always been there's a certain level of you have to have skin in the game, or you're never going to learn the lessons.
That's exactly what I was going to say. When it comes to results, you want people to get results. Most of the time, you have to charge them something. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And that's not only, it's not only for you. Like, it helps you. It's a business, and a business is good. Business is great. It's necessary, but for them as well, because people value what they pay for. So
it's a commitment. It is a commitment, and they definitely do value what they pay for. They're not going to put any stock in it if they don't have any investment in it, right? Like,
exactly.
I mean, think back. I guess it depends on the area. I was in high school with a bunch of kids who mommy and daddy gave them a car. And I saw how those cars were treated versus, my $2,000 beater that I had to pay for that and the insurance and everything else. I hated the crap out of that car, but it was mine. I paid for it and I paid for my insurance. You know what I mean? Like the same principle, maybe more so, applies in business. There's a lot more at stake in a business.
Yeah, because there's all kinds of obstacles, you know what I mean? And you're going to, at some point, want to turn back around and not finish. And If you made an investment and you've come this far, whatever that may be, that's going to be a strong, reason for you to continue to push through and keep going. So, and it separates the tire kickers from the people that are real and serious about it. It's all a part of getting results.
Just like with our own customers. That's why we charge service calls, right? Because
exactly. It's crazy how some people, they say they go out for no money. Like, man, I'll do that on commercial, like, multi-unit complexes and stuff. But yeah, gotta
actually even then, I did commercial work, restaurants and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Nope. You're gonna pay a service call for me to come through that door, because
yeah.
Otherwise, you're just gonna cheap out. If you gotta put skin in the game, there's gonna be some follow through. If you got skin in the game, you don't have skin in the game, follow through just ain't there.
Yeah, so. That's very, very true.
Yeah. Well, it's been a blast, man. I've enjoyed having you on, and before we start running too far over time, because people get bored of hearing my voice. We'll wrap it up, but we're going to have you on again. This has been a lot of fun, and we'll have to set it up where you can come on the morning grind sometime too.
For sure. It's been great, man. It's great. It actually went even better than I thought it would go, because I knew it was going to go great, but it went even better, man. You have some really good questions.
Well, I'm glad I could facilitate that. It's always fun. It's always easier when you're talking to someone who just who gets it, right? Like that. Yeah. Like I said, that vibe thing is there. And I knew, like, I think I told you in our initial messaging thread went something like, dude, I've been watching you and you're a friggin' awesome dude. So like, we got to have you on the podcast. Like you have been one of my top guests, and I just haven't been sure how to approach it. And like, let's make this happen, because this has to happen.
That's awesome, man. That was great.
So that was fun, but I'm glad you came out. I'm glad we had a chance to connect. So I just appreciate you, man.
Absolutely, man. I appreciate you, man. I appreciate you.
So for the Service Alliance podcast, man, that was an awesome episode. I hope you had your notepads out, like I tell you. If you didn't, hit the rewind button. Go watch that again and write that stuff down. Good night. We just had so much fun. Thank you, Jay Mills, for coming on. And we hope you guys tune in next time. If you found this helpful in your life, like, comment, subscribe, share, help the channel grow, help other business owners elevate themselves. We'll catch you next time, guys.